This time we will call the regularly scheduled council meeting to order. Ms. Stennett, if you would, please do the invocation. Ms. James, lead us in the pledge, please.
Make our beginning in the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Lord, as we gather together, let us remember the reason for this season. And Lord, let this spirit of Christmas reign in us throughout the coming year, that we may work together in the sense of brotherhood for the benefit of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, the citizens, and the visitors therein, that we may bring through you all the glory with our words, thoughts, and deeds. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is the reading of the minutes of the previous council meeting. If members of council have had an opportunity to review these, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Next item on the agenda is communications from the mayor. I have a few items I need to cover tonight. Let's continue to keep the Stennett family in our prayers. And also, since our last council meeting, we lost another member of the city. I'm sure probably some of you people in here knew him. He was Mike Brennan. He was very actively involved in the youth programs at the post. If you had any kids that went to junior high or high school anywhere in Catoosa, Walker County, he was an official for 28 years. And he was also known as the coffee man. He supplied coffee here at City Hall and a lot of other businesses, maybe even to some of you folks out there here in the city. So let's keep the Brandon family in our prayers too. Little announcement for the holidays. City Hall will be closed December the 24th and the 25th, and we will also be closed December 31st and January the 1st. So it will be the second week in January before our next regularly scheduled council meeting will take place, pending the approval of the cancellation of the meeting for December 24th tonight. So everybody keep that in mind. Don't come down and try to pay the bills on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, because hopefully our employees are going to be home with their families. Other than that, I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, certainly a Happy New Year. 2018 was a good year for the city of Fort Oglethorpe. And we've got a lot of plans for 2019, and hopefully this economy will stay strong and it'll be another successful year for the city then. One good news, is Chief Ballou still back there?
Yes, sir, I'm hiding back here.
Come on up, Chief. We've been sitting around here on pins and needles for close to 2 months awaiting our governmental ISO to come into play to make sure that we had done everything we were supposed to here in the city. And thanks to Chief Ballou and his staff, I'll let him tell you what we accomplished.
Well, I have my own copy this time. On November the 19th, 2018, says, Dear Mr. Earl Gray, we wish to thank you and Chief Bruce Ballou for your cooperation during our recent public protection classification survey. ISO has completed its analysis of the structural fire suppression delivery systems provided in your community, and the results of the classification is: the public protection classification went from a 3/9 to a 3/3X, effective March the 1st, 2019. I will say that this is the best grade we've ever seen in my tenure, 50-something years as a firefighter. We like just a small amount of points, getting a 2, and if that be the council's wishes in the future, we will discuss funding.
Congratulations, Chief.
Congratulations.
So, well, we appreciate the council and everything they've done for us, because without y'all, we couldn't achieve this, because the funding that we have been receiving has helped accomplish this feat.
Thank you, sir.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you.
Job well done.
Any questions?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Wait, I got a question.
Oh, no.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
The going from the 9 to the 3X?
Well, it means in the city, the city stays a 3. We're a 3 in the city and have been a 3 for years.
Right.
In the county and the areas we provide protection to,
I see.
those areas that are within
Right.
5 miles of a station, 1,000 feet of a hydrant, and or within the restricted limits outside the 5 miles and no water, will still get the same protection. And that is all dependent upon the insurance company. The insurance company draws their own conclusions on what the ISO gives them the information on, and they can either raise or lower your property insurance accordingly
Right.
on their own.
So those people that fall in that little area will drop to a 3.
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic.
Thanks again,
Thanks,
Chief.
Chief.
Next item on the agenda is ordinances. Item number 1 under ordinances, third and final reading of ordinance number 2018-18. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2018-18, annexation, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by the authority thereof, Section 1, that the following property owned by Robert White, Northwest Mountain Investment LLC, and known as map number 000288072 is annexed into the city of Fort Oglethorpe, said property being particularly described in the deed attached to the ordinance. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. First reading, 12th day of November 2018. Second reading, 26th day of November 2018. Third reading tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. I have a motion to approve.
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Seconds.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would like to, there's a lot of folks here that are concerned about this, and I think rightfully so. So I would like to give them some assurances from our staff about the process that they would have to go through to get the plans approved and to get the stormwater retention approved and things of that nature, so that they know that we're not just going to let them do anything that they want to do out there.
Sure, and the action tonight, I think Rick Quarles is here. Rick, do you want to come up as well to answer Derek's questions? The action tonight for this particular item is just the annexation item. It's not the rezoning for the parcel that's coming, the parcel that's undeveloped. That will be a follow-up item.
But it's on the agenda for tonight as well.
It's the second part.
Zoning C2 special exception, which would have to go through our planning and zoning before anything could be done.
Yeah,
correct?
no, it's actually not the same parcel. So what's happened is where the storage units are currently located, it's zoned in R3. So what they're asking to do is to bring the land use up to the same, to bring it in compliance with our zoning code. It's already being used for a storage facility. I'm not sure how that happened. It happens at some point in the past, right? So they're establishing a conforming use. That's for the parcel that's already inside the city limits. For
I see.
the other parcel, they're asking to annex it into the city, and they're not going to ask for the rezoning until they know that it's in the city. So that'll be another step to follow tonight.
So for everybody's benefit, everything in red, moving back over that second parcel, they're going to have to apply and submit us a plan
It'll
for
be,
that.
it'll be just like you're receiving on the parcel that's already in the city. It'll be a C2 special exception, and that will be something that city council will have to consider before any of those plans can be constructed. Right now, you're only annexing.
So does that take concern over the flooding? I mean,
Well, based
I mean-
on this, nothing's going to change.
well, I know, but, we don't have all the engineering plans yet, and I would be concerned
I would
if
too.
I lived there too.
Exactly, but prior to anything changes, Mr. Quarles, our planning and zoning, will ascertain that the citizens are protected before we vote upon.
For the expansion piece.
They can't
Is that
expand
correct?
it, they can't expand it based on your action tonight. You're only,
Okay.
you're simply annexing vacant land into the city.
Correct.
On this particular one.
Correct.
And then we're rezoning the front piece that's already.
Which is already in.
It's
Which
already a
already-
storage facility.
This one can't be rezoned in the city until it's actually in the city.
Correct.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you'll
Nothing
see
to do with
additional
building.
action, and I believe that additional time would certainly give staff the opportunity to make sure that we can, reply
Verify,
to,
yeah.
right, to any of the concerns about stormwater, and Rick also is in charge of that process, and nothing could happen without his approval that the stormwater's handled appropriately.
Yeah, all that goes through NRCS and CTI. Are you the civil engineer? Okay. Runoff curve numbers, there's a lot of things that goes in designing runoff and infiltration on property. It's just not building a pond, and there's a lot of design.
And to
Yeah,
that
we
point, Rick, they probably haven't spent a lot of money on the design yet, because why would they if it's not going to get annexed into the city? So that's why you're not seeing detail on this, because their first step is to be annexed into the city.
And
Okay,
if you've done
so-
no calculation, but who's to say you don't need a 5-acre pond or a 2, so that it may not even be feasible to build what you have there until you do it.
That is true,
And-
because I sized that little
Yeah.
area just as a rough
Yeah.
percentage of,
Yeah, absolutely.
a
Yeah.
ballpark.
Okay, so we're not,
Certainly
You're not
something to
approving
change.
all right.
the use.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Any other discussions or questions? Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Ms. Childs?
Yes.
Ms. Stinnett?
Yes.
Ms. James?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 2, under ordinances, third and final reading, ordinance number 2018-19. Mr. Stoltz.
Ordinance number 2018-19, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and it is hereby ordained by authority thereof, Section 1, that the following property owned by Robert White, Northwest Mountain Investment LLC, and known as map number 000-2A081, is rezoned to a C2 special exception zoning. Attached is a copy of the particular deed, Section 2. If any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair the parts of the ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. First reading, 12th day of November 2018. Second reading, 26th day of November 2018. This is third and final reading, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Have a motion to approve.
Motion.
I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
One more time, oh, go ahead.
Mr. Crawford?
So we're being clear
Yes.
that this is on the existing
Correct.
units.
Yes, correct. This
Up
is on
until
the
the-
existing units, is basically
Just
to
getting
make
them up
our
to-
zoning comply with the current land use.
So we would go through another process for that other. And
Yes,
just
sir.
for me
'Cause-
just for me talking, maybe somebody could tell me this. Rick, if that happened, could that help could it help the neighborhood with the flooding? Asking.
It possibly could, the runoff and the infiltration on that property. I don't know if anything exists on that parcel now.
No, he said it's in the wetlands.
Yeah. So in fact, it could actually help a lot of that.
Yeah, and I
But-
wanted to bring up the point also that we received the survey for the property, and as I expected, everything kind of flows to the floodway. But I also wanted to bring up the point that anything like those residences along the south side of McCaffrey Road, they drain to us. We have to divert to get them to the floodway. So it's not like just because we're building up a few feet that it's gonna block that passage, and that will be hammered out during the design and the review
Right.
by you, so.
Yeah, that's not part of building anything, is to redirect it, on the adjacent properties.
Yeah,
I know.
but yeah, our development can create an
Yeah.
adverse impact to
Right, yeah.
offsite, especially upstream areas.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Ms. Stennett?
Yes.
Ms. James?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 3, under ordinances, third and final reading, ordinance number 2018-20. Mr. Stokes.
I do.
Ms. Simpkins may have it if...
Ordinance number 2018-20, an ordinance to amend and restate the retirement plan for the city of employees of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, in accordance with the subject to the terms and conditions set forth in the attached adoption agreement. Any amendment to the adoption agreement, the Georgia Municipal Benefit System, GMIMS, master plan document, and the GMEBS trust agreement. When accepted by the authorized officers of the city and GMEBS, the foregoing shall constitute a contract between the city and GMEBS, all authorized and provided by OCGA Section 47-5-1 et sec. Be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof, Section 1, that the retirement plan for the employees of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, is hereby amended and restated as set forth in and subject to the terms and conditions stated in the following adoption agreement. Any amendment to the adoption agreement, the Georgia Municipal Employee Benefits System Master Plan Document, and the GMEBS Trust Agreement. Section 2, except as otherwise specifically required by law or by the terms of the master plan or adoption agreement, the rights and obligations under the plan with respect to the persons whose employment with the city was terminated or who vacated his office with the city for any reason whatsoever prior to the effective date of this ordinance are fixed and shall be governed by such plan, if any, as it existed and was in effect at the time of such termination. Section 3, the effective date of this ordinance shall be the date of approval by the governing authority. Section 4, all ordinance and parts of ordinances in conflict thereof are expressly repealed. Approved by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe this blank day of 2018.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Ms. Stennett?
Yes.
Ms. James?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 4, under ordinances, first reading of ordinance number 2018-21. Mr. Stokes.
City of Fort Oglethorpe Charter Amendment Ordinance Number 2018-21, an ordinance to amend the charter of the City of Fort Oglethorpe to provide for provisions therein, to repeal conflicting provisions or parts thereof, to provide for an adoption date and all other purposes allowed by law. Whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe is authorized under Article 9, Section 2, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution of the State of Georgia and the Official Code of Georgia annotated 36-5 et al. And the Charter of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, Article 1, Section 1.13D, and Article 7, Section 7.10, to review its charter and make reasonable clarifications, amendments, not altering the governmental structure of the City of Fort Oglethorpe Charter so as to improve the public health, safety, and welfare and the aesthetics of the citizens of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe is vested in the City Council composed of a mayor and City Council members, and it is hereby ordained by the governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, that Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia's charter is hereby amended as follows. Part 1, Charter, Article 5, Elections, Section 5.16, Removal of Officers, added Section C. Upon removal pursuant to this section, the removed officer shall not be eligible to qualify for the election to fill the vacancy created by his or her removal during the unexpired term from which he or she was removed. Section D, upon removal pursuant to this section, the officer shall no longer be entitled to any benefits or salary of the office from which he or she was removed, effective the date of removal. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair the other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, this charter amendment shall take effect upon the approval of the vote of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Mayor and Council. First reading, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Next item on the agenda is resolutions. We have none. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. We have none. Next item on the agenda is the reading of the minutes from the city clerk. We do not have anything tonight. Next item on the agenda is new business. Item number 1, proposed approval. We'll do these one at a time. These are for alcohol license that's been through the process at the city. Item 1 is for Cloud Springs Market LLC, 1870 Cloud Springs Road, Rossville, Georgia. What's our chief doing here? He snuck in us, didn't he? Field Parkway, Chief Helton.
Yes, sir, we did some due diligence on this one as well. We did not find that this one complies with your code due to the nature of the business that they're wanting to handle alcohol. They don't comply with the code of the city.
Thank you, Chief Helton. I have a motion to deny.
Motion.
Second, sir.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous for denial of Article 2 under Item 1 of new business. Crystal Nails at 1907 Battlefield Parkway, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, is denied an alcohol license. Item number 2 under new business, proposed approval of intergovernmental agreement with Catoosa County and City of Ringgold, providing the T-SPLOS option on the March 2019 ballot. Ms. Simpkins.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Staff recommends approval of an intergovernmental agreement for the transportation special purpose local option sales tax distribution with Catoosa County and the City of Ringgold. As you all know, the Catoosa County Board of Commissioners has the authority to place a T-SPLOS referendum for a single county T-SPLOS on the ballot per state law. They will do so on March 19, 2019. Due to the critical need for a dedicated source of funds for transportation-related projects. This includes street repaving, resurfacing, bridge repair, trail improvements, and associated stormwater improvements, which we've heard about some of those stormwater improvements that are needed tonight. A 5-year 1% T-SPLOS is estimated to generate $60 million, and the county proposes in this intergovernmental agreement a 70-20-10 distribution. Catoosa County receiving 70%, the City of Fort Oglethorpe receiving 20%, and the City of Ringgold receiving 10%. If the IGA, or intergovernmental agreement, is approved by City Council and voters approve T-SPLOS on March 19th, 2019, Fort Oglethorpe would receive up to $12 million over 5 years in revenue as a result of this intergovernmental agreement. And just for your knowledge, this item is similar to the item that was passed by City Council on August 28, 2017, an intergovernmental agreement with Walker County and its cities for T-Splosh distribution. That estimated total revenue over 5 years is $25 million, and the distribution percentages are: the city of Chickamauga receives 3.77%, Fort Oglethorpe receives 0.39%, Lafayette receives 11.67%, Lookout Mountain 2.87%, Rossville 6.30%, and Walker County receives 75%. Collection began April 1st, 2018 on the Walker County T-Splosh. It ends March 31st, 2023, and so far the city of Fort Oglethorpe has collected $10,577.35 to be spent on transportation projects and the portions of our city that are also in Walker County. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Ms. Simpkins. I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Second, sir.
I have a motion and a second. Just for the record, y'all are voting on a agreement to these terms. You're not voting for or against a T-Splosh. What you're voting for here is the amount the way it will be distributed between the county and the two cities,
If the citizens
approve it.
This is allocation of the amounts, provided it is approved by citizen vote.
Correct.
In March.
Because if we didn't vote on this intergovernmental agreement, we could get less, right?
Correct.
Mayor?
That's true.
Again,
Just
it's up
wanted
to y'all.
everybody to understand, you're not voting for
Yes.
or against it. You're voting for or against the way it is distributed if it is approved by the people.
Right.
Any other questions or discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 3, under new business, proposed approval of the candidate qualifying fees for the 2019 election. Ms. Simpkins.
Mayor, state law requires the governing authority of any county or municipality not later than February 1st of each year in which a general election is to be held to fix and publish a qualifying fee for each county or municipal office to be filled in the upcoming election. The state law sets the fee at 3% of the total gross salary of the office paid in the preceding year. So in 2019, an election will be an election year for the mayor and 2 council members. In 2018, the mayor's salary was $10,500. Therefore, the qualifying fee for mayoral candidates will be $315. In 2018, each council member had a salary of $8,500. Therefore, the 2019 qualifying fees will be $255. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Ms. Simpkins. I have a motion to approve.
Motion.
I have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 4, under new business, proposed approval of workers' compensation insurance. Ms. Simpkins.
The city relies on McGriff Insurance Services to market our workers' compensation insurance program. And for the period of January 1st, 2019 to January 1st, 2020, 4 markets were approached, including Bitco Insurance, which is our current carrier, Key Risk Insurance, Berkshire Hathaway Home States, and Travelers Insurance. Bitco offered the best price for a second year in a row of $151,968. This is only slightly higher than our 2018 cost of $151,078. This is a budgeted item. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Ms. Simpkins. I have a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 5, under new business, sanitation agreement amendment. Ms. Simpkins.
The city of Fort Oglethorpe entered into an agreement with Republic Services back on April 28, 2014. At that point, the rate was established at $12.05 per residential unit for residential once per week garbage collection, and the cart was included. The contract included the ability for Republic to increase this rate by up to 2% annually based on the Consumer Price Index. Our existing contract holds Fort Oglethorpe responsible for buying out the 95-gallon bins if we terminate the contract prior to December 31st, 2022. This new agreement will be effective January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2020, with options to terminate. The January 1st, 2019 rate will increase by 3% in this proposal to a cost of $12.69 per residential unit, with the option to increase annual rate up to 2% per year beginning 2020 with prior notice to the city. And I know that Mr. Adam Brock, with Operations Manager with Republic Services, is here to answer any of your questions or concerns about the new proposal. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
I have a motion to approve.
Motion.
I have a second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Is this one superseding one that hadn't expired? You went a little fast on those expiration dates there.
No, it doesn't supersede. In our 2014 agreement, it was a 4-year agreement in 2014, so it expires at the end of this year. However, in that particular contract, it did list that the city, if, I guess it was thinking ahead, if the city were to go with a different hauler after the current contract expired at the end of this year, we would have to buy out the bins. So that goes all the way through December 31st of 2022.
So basically, we're approving a new,
That's a new agreement
for what amount of period?
for January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2020.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 6, under new business, proposed approval of LMIG agreement. Ms. Simpkins.
This is an annual requirement for the city of Fort Oglethorpe to submit an application for LMIG funding, which actually stands for Local Maintenance and Improvement Grant from the state of Georgia. Each year, the city of Fort Oglethorpe receives about $100,000 for associated local maintenance and improvement projects for our local roads. And the funding is based on the total roadway miles in Fort Oglethorpe. So in 2019, we're submitting 3 projects totaling $219,399. We won't get this amount. Again, it's based on our total number of roadway miles. And these projects may change depending on the results of the robotics assessment that will be completed within the next few months of the conditions of all of our local roadways.
Thank you, Ms. Simpkins. I have a motion to approve.
Motion, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 7, under new business, proposed approval of employee health clinic. Ms. Simpkins.
I'm going to start with a little bit of history for those of you who aren't aware of the Catoosa County Employee Health Clinic. In October of 2017, Catoosa County opened a clinic just for their employees and its covered dependents who participate under the county's health insurance plan. The county contracts with One to One Health, LLC, to provide the necessary licensed and credentialed staff, tools, and equipment to operate a 20-hour per week health clinic. In 1 year, the clinic has paid for itself. The county's insurance premium was going to increase by 6%, or just over $300,000 in its renewal. However, the clinic utilization documentation was provided to their insurance carrier, and they presented Catoosa County with a rate pass or a no increase. So during the county's 2018 fiscal year, the clinic cost just over $300,000, and the county saved just over $300,000 on their health insurance premium. So, as a result, the additional benefits of the clinic are that the clinic has been able to diagnose several diseases before they became serious, such as hypertension, anemia, prediabetes, in one case cancer, pneumonia, and hyperglycemia. And of course, by pre-diagnosing these types of conditions, you're able to offer preventative services. Our goal is to encourage employees and qualified dependents to use the clinic to reduce our health insurance premiums. In 2019, if approved, the city will pay 20% of the fixed operating costs and monthly fees of the county's current program. The county's current program has capacity, so this is an agreement with Catoosa County, not with One-to-One Health, to use up their remaining capacity. The cost will be about $80,000, and this is actually included in your adopted 2019 budget. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Ms. Seekman. Have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
This is a 1-year agreement?
It will have to be, it goes until the contract with the between the county and One-to-One expires, but you can cancel anytime with a 60-day prior notification.
Okay.
So
And
we
you
can
pay
cancel anytime.
directly to the county.
Correct.
We don't have to make.
Can you go over those numbers again? I thought I heard you say it was going to be 6% of total operation.
The city would pay 20% of the fixed operating costs.
Which is 300,000. Isn't that what you said their total operating costs were?
Their total operating cost in this past year was 300,000. So roughly, we would be responsible for 20% of that.
60.
We budgeted enough to more than cover.
So wouldn't it be closer to 5,000 a month instead of 8,000?
Where is that number?
5, 12, 60.
There's some unknowns. For instance, the prescription costs, that the clinic offers free prescriptions for the top 25 prescriptions that are used by employees. So we would reimburse the actual cost of the prescription. So there's a little bit of buffer built into our budget to include for those unknowns. But yes, I mean, it would be close, 20% of the 300,000 is what we should expect to spend.
Which is the fixed cost.
So that's the fixed cost.
And it's strictly volunteer. If our employees
Yes, yes,
choose
sir.
not to go, so
Yes, sir.
could pay it and nobody use it.
If nobody uses it, then I would recommend ending
60 days, yeah.
intergovernmental agreement with Catoosa County.
Can that be done within a 30 or 60-day period?
Yes,
Or
sir.
you committed to the year?
60 days.
60 days, what she says. But if this works, that saves a lot of money for the city, because it is for the county already, right?
Absolutely, and the prevention possibilities are incredible for our employees and their dependents, that,
Because they'll have no co-pays or anything.
they'll have no co-pays for these visits. It's a great employee benefit, but it's also great for the city's future as far as health insurance premiums are concerned. But I would certainly say if we don't see improvements in either of those things, that we end the agreement.
So who's going to be assigned the task of monitoring this for 60 days, beginning at what date, and then reporting back to the council this is January 1st?
January 1st will be effective.
So-
I will be responsible for doing that.
So March 1st, you'll report to the council whether this is beneficial to the employees or not.
It'll
and we
probably
can-
take more time than 1 month to judge that. But yes, I will give you all reports however frequently you like. It took the county about a year before they could establish some trends and actually receive,
And you probably needed a renewal,
yes.
health insurance
Mhm.
renewal.
That's what happened. They
Yeah.
needed a renewal and they were able to negotiate, and the same thing would happen for Fordo.
Right.
We don't do that until closer to the end of the year, our health insurance renewals.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is that a weak eye there, Ms. T?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 8, under new business, proposed approval of MOU Family Crisis Center. Chief Helton.
Mayor and council, the recommendation before you is to consider the approval again this year of agreement with the Family Crisis Center. As you're aware, they provide many services for our victims of domestic violence, in not just our community, but in the entire judicial circuit, which consists of 4 counties and all the cities therein. So nothing's changed in the agreement. It's just a requirement from year to year.
Thank you, Chief Helton. Have a motion to approve.
Motion, sir.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 9, under new business, proposed approval police department vehicle. Chief Helton.
Mayor and council, the recommendation before you tonight is to purchase 2 Dodge Chargers to add to our fleet and retire a couple old Ford Crown Victorias. We went out to bid utilizing the new state requirements, going to bid for these items, submitted them to over 100 different suppliers on the state site, and actually only got 2 formal bids back. One of those was Prater, one of them was Mountain View Dodge Chrysler. There was only one of those 2 that submitted for the Dodge Chargers, which we're trying to use those not just to match our fleet, but we are finding that they're very reliable vehicles for patrol work. But we would recommend to you tonight the purchase of 2 of those from our SPLOST funds. They've gone up since we bought them the last time, but the total for both of them are $52,915. This will not include all the items that will be mounted on them, such as the lights. We'll have that at a later date. These won't return to us until March of 2019, so we've got time for that.
Have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 10, under new business, proposed approval of building official vehicle. Mr. Quarles.
Mr. Mayor, the Department of Building, Planning and Zoning recommends award of ITV number FOCH-002 City Hall vehicle to Prater Ford, which is a F-150 pickup truck, in the amount of $29,870.68. The funding source is 2014 SPLOST. The current vehicle that the Building, Planning and Zoning drives is an Administrative Explorer. That's not sufficient for the job requirements. Originally, the Explorer was signed to the city manager. It was provided to the chief building official in 2017, as this was a new position with no assigned vehicle.
Thank you, Mr. Quarles. I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 11, under new business. Propose approval of variances, Ms. Simpkins. Am I to assume you're going to approach all 3 of these at once, or you're going to do them separate?
I'm going to approach them all at once because I need to request that you all strike this item from the agenda.
That would be very easy to do right there. I have a motion to strike item number 11 under new business from the agenda.
Make a motion.
Second, sir.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 11 under new business is stricken from the agenda. Item number 12 under new business, proposed approval of Highway 41 Phase 2 change order. Mr. Parker, you had to hang around to be last.
This is a request to add an additional 800 feet of 8-inch sanitary sewer to the existing project that we're doing there now. The base project is completed, pump station is online, and this work can be done within the existing contract. There are existing pay items for this contract. And actually, this change order also requests that we reduce the contract price by $1,057.26.
Yes.
Have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second, sir.
Have a motion and a second. Is this for the out parcels, Mr. Parker?
This will be for out parcels. And we need to move forward as soon as we can because of the paving that we probably will get in front of them because it's probably gonna shut down the asphalt plant for a while.
This will be the only one you will need to get to the out parcels and tie it into that main line?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
I'm going to add one item to the agenda, which I should have done at the beginning of the meeting, but with the public hearings, I did forget. So if you would, just add item number 13 under new business. I'll need a motion and a second to cancel the December 24th council meeting.
I'll make a motion.
You got a motion?
Second.
To have a second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
December 24th council meeting will be canceled. Next item on the agenda is city manager's report. Ms. Simpkins.
Mayor, just happy birthday to Rhonda James.
I'm not having them anymore.
I didn't think she was having any more.
It's the 21st anniversary of my 40th birthday.
That's all, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Simpkins. City council comments. Ms. Childs.
Everybody have a safe Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Ms. Childs. Mr. Crawford.
I'd just like to congratulate my nephew and his beautiful bride. They got married Saturday, Heath and Kirby Kofer, and wish them the best in life. And everybody out there, have a Happy New Year's and a Merry Christmas, and be safe.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, happy birthday, Rhonda.
Thank you.
It's good to see David here tonight. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he's back there somewhere. And yeah, echo that. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and also like to say thank you to all of you that came. We really do appreciate your input, and are glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Ms. James.
I also want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and 2018 in some ways has been good, in some ways has been not so good, and we're looking forward to a great 2019 and wish all health and happiness to everyone.
Thank you, Ms. James. Ms. Stinnett.
Yes, sir. Keeping with tradition, this is the 6th year of the traditional Christmas poem. But before we get into that, I'll invite everyone to go by Honor Park and check out the Christmas tree therein. I think you will enjoy it. So I begin begging your pardon for lack of singing skills. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas all over Fort O. Take a look in the restaurants, glistening entertainment spots, with retail growing and silver lanes aglow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, Honor Park and Bark Park too. But the prettiest sight to see is the citizens who will be smiling from their own front doors. Oh, the weather outside is frightful. In the hall, it's so delightful. The council have worked together. See it grow, watch it grow, let it grow. It's the most wonderful time of the year. With the budget all balanced, and Simpkins can tell you, be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. 'Twas the night before council, when all through the city not a creature was stirring. Chief Helton thought, what a pity. The stockings were hung by citizens' chimneys with care. The Fort Oglethorpe Fire Department were at the firehouse, and it was also boring there. The citizens were all nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of a safe city danced in their heads. With Earl in his seat, and we standing by, had just settled our brains for a long work session night. When out in the council room there arose such a clatter, we sprang from the meeting to see what was the matter. When what to our wondering eyes should appear but a little old citizen, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick.
Ho, ho, ho!
And he whistled and he shouted and he called us by name. Now Derek, now Jim, now Robert and Rhonda, on Craig, on Paula, on Jenny and Earl. To the top of the tree, to the top of the hall. Now vote away, vote away, vote away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, the council began to discuss and decide. The mayor, he voiced his concern for the city. Council, you are charged as stewards for all who reside. We looked at each other, eyes wide as the moon, debated and proved reasons and methods, calculating cost and risk, until finally an unanimous consensus ensued. May God bless you and keep you with the spirit of Christmas throughout all the new year. We wish you all a Merry Christmas and a year of good cheer. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stinnett. Next item on the agenda, citizens petitions and requests. We do not have anything. Next item on the agenda is executive session. I will entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel.
Motion.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are in executive session. I will entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
Motion, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are out of executive session. In executive session, we discuss personnel. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second, sir.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.